welcome back to India Global Forum. And our media partner today is India Today, being watched now by tens of thousands. And of course, media and entertainment has exploded in the digital age. Pandemic further accelerating the digital transformation that was already underway. And we have seen increased competition. Korean dramas compete with American, British, Indian. Pressure to put out fresh content constantly, and all the while a reduction in advertising spend as businesses are cutting costs. So let's explore this idea of how media and entertainment companies are catering to rapidly changing and evolving consumer desires. How dealing with competition from players who are born in the cloud, and how you can deliver an exceptional experience at scale. First up with me is Tim Richards from Vue. Thanks very much for coming.
Sure.
So give us a snapshot of what business looked like just before the pandemic, in the throes of it, all the way to now.
Well, I think the business box office has been growing now for the past 20 years. And 2019 was a record-breaking year globally, $43 billion of global box office. And it's something that we probably don't shout out enough. But this is a growing industry, not an industry that was suffering in any way. And we as a company had our biggest year ever at the end of our first quarter 2020 in February. And then 3 weeks later, we closed every cinema in 9 countries. And so it's one of those apocalyptic moments that exhibitors and cinema operators worldwide experienced. During the lockdown time, interestingly, film production, TV production continued on a slightly more restricted base, and then it picked up pace as the lockdowns were opened up. We have been shut now for the best part of 18 months, and we opened up in the UK in the second week of May, and exhibitors globally all opened up over a period of mostly around May right through to the summer. And in the UK, we opened up with Peter Rabbit, family film, get the audiences warmed up again, get the families out. And then over the summer, we had big films coming up, Shang-Chi, Suicide Squad, and others, Black Widow, that delivered pretty decent numbers. And then James Bond came, and in the UK, James Bond right now is on track to deliver 90 million pounds in the UK. And to put that into context, that would be the 4th biggest movie of all time in the UK. Forget pre-COVID, post-COVID, of all time. So, and I think it proves that the audiences are there. They're probably there more than they've ever been. And this isn't kind of unique to the UK, this is globally. Audiences are desperate to get out of their homes and their flats and their small apartments and go out and join their friends and family on an evening out. And what Bond proved really is when you have a movie, the audiences are there and they're ready to come back.
So what do you say to the question that, yes, we do want to go and watch James Bond in a giant cinema, but actually most of the time I'm just happy to sit on my couch and watch any one of the many streaming services that I might subscribe to?
Yeah, well, I think the press over the last 18 months have tried to make it look as if there's this big battle going on between cinema owners and Netflix generally. And I think, you know, from a cinema operator's perspective, anybody who creates and produces great content is your friend, not your enemy. And it's also a completely different business model. I think Netflix is really in-home. And I think globally what you're seeing right now is you're seeing this massive battle for viewers and leisure time in-home. And that battle is with terrestrial TV, satellite TV, and the subscription services. Once our customers have decided they're going to leave their home, you know, our competition is other forms of out-of-home entertainment, whether it be a theme park or restaurant or football game. So we embrace them, and I think in the next 12 months, you're going to see some of the big subscription services showing their films on our screens. I mean, why wouldn't you want, and also TV series, why wouldn't you want to see Game of Thrones on a massive big screen with great sound? Why wouldn't you want to see an incredible high quality product like Queen's Gambit over several weeks on our screens. And that, together with a lot of the work that we've been doing with music concerts and opera, all on big screens. And I think what you're going to see cinema operators globally focused on is high quality content to entertain consumers with.
So I want to ask you about putting on things other than films in a cinema. How is that going? Is the audience run to it? And the other question I have is, do people want something different from a cinema experience now? Do they like this idea that you can have dinner in a cinema, or you can bring your drinks in, or how is that customer desire changing?
Well, I think, I mean, no industry can ever be complacent. And I think what you've seen cinema operators do globally now is invest in trying to reinvent the experience. It needs to be an exciting, vibrant experience for our customers. And there are very few game changers in the industry, and one of them is recliner seats. And when you sit in a recliner seat and you push that little button aside and your legs go up and you go back to watch the film, provided you don't fall asleep, but you tell your friends, you tell your family, and more importantly, you personally go more often. And it's a game changer. So I think what you're seeing right now is exhibitors investing where the customers spend 85, 90% of their time in an auditorium. So amazing seats, incredible digital surround sound systems, and brand new, mostly laser projectors on a screen.
So I wonder if you can look at things from a BFI perspective as well. How do you think we're seeing the changing requirements or interest in what kind of films are getting made based on what people want to watch or what to consume?
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to, I mean, there's no director, producer, or talent that sets out to make a film that nobody wants to see. So everybody wants a successful film, and that's the starting point. And I think there's kind of this notion of some people just produce an art film for an art film's sake. That's not the case. But certainly in the UK and in all markets globally, there's a huge demand for local stories and filmmakers telling local stories that are unique to a region or unique to a country. And we know that because we know that every time that we, in our markets, we have local films in all of our markets. And every single year, those local films represent, they're normally 3 or 4 of them are always in the top 5. And just showing how important they are to communities. And I think certainly having spent as much time in India as I have, and you look at the incredible films coming out of Bollywood, which I'm not sure, I'm not sure what the number is, but it's 5 times, maybe 10 times what Hollywood produces. And certainly, like a lot of markets, what you're seeing, particularly, and what I've seen in India, is the quality of the films. There's probably a little bit fewer films now that are being made with much higher quality, and they're traveling better. And I know, certainly in the UK, we show a lot of Bollywood films very successfully, because there's a big demand, a big market for them.